Hi everyone, my name is Kelly Campbell and I was nominated to tell my story. When I was a young girl, my mom took myself and my four sisters to church in Hacienda Heights, California, and um, it was the first experience that I had with Sunday school songs, what Jesus looked like. We had a picture in our Sunday school class of a picture of a rugged man with a beard and wearing like a robe and a lamb sitting at his feet. And after a few years of going to this church, it got hard on my mom to drag five young girls to church. She would barter with us saying, "Oh, come, hurry, let's go to church and I'll stop and get you a donut afterwards." And that's probably why I like a sprinkled donut from the Breaky Cafe on my way out from service. Thank you, Breaky Cafe. Anyway, I was anxious because the kids weren't from my elementary school and I only saw them on Sunday. And so I didn't really have a time to build a relationship except for that hour and a half or 2 hours that we were there. And today I get anxious, but one of my favorite verses is, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because the Lord your God goes with you." And that gives me a sense of, I put my shoulders back a little bit and I can get through this. And after a few years and she stopped taking us through junior high and high school, I didn't really have any religion in my life. And after high school, I started dating a young man that unfortunately had addiction, and it was due to his father being alcoholic and abusive to him and his sisters when he was a child. And I dated him for a few years, and it was really a tough time. I lost a lot of things in my life at that time. I lost a home. I had to file for bankruptcy, and yeah, I just decided, I can't lose anymore. My self-worth is more than that, and I knew that there was something more, but wasn't sure what. So one day I was sitting at my sister's house in Fontana, and we were just chatting about, life in general. And she just brushed her hand across my knee, and I had this sense of relief. This pressure and the weight of the world on my shoulders was gone. And I started crying, and she was looking at me like, "What happened?" And I said, "I don't know what happened. You just touched my leg and I felt this, huge release." And she was a Christian and is a Christian, and she was talking to me about Jesus doesn't want you to live burned and weighed down. He wants you to rely on him. And it was the Holy Spirit taking this, pressure and this world off your shoulders. And after that conversation, I started going to church with her. And it was in Fontana, so it was quite a drive. But I went for a few years. I was baptized at the church. And then our church merged with another church. And so we had our pastor and a pastor of this other church pastoring us. And I'm not sure what happened, but our pastor or my pastor ended up leaving. And the church just wasn't the same anymore. And so I stopped going. It was my excuse. And now I look back, it wasn't the right thing to do. But it was what life sometimes leads us to do. So I meet Dave. We get married, we buy a house, and we're living life on life's terms. And we're struggling, just like any married couple does. Marriage isn't a walk in the park, but, you go through struggles. It's work. So Dave gets invited to a reproduction company's Friday Bible study. Church service. And so he goes for a few months, and I can see a change in him. And he comes home and he says one day, "We need to find a church." So we were looking around the area and we went to several different churches, but we just couldn't get plugged in. And I knew that there was more. There was more family unit in a church than the ones that we have been to. And we couldn't get plugged in. Some large churches, some small churches. So I see Diamond Canyon Christian Church cross on the freeway, and so we start going to the church there, and right away we get met by so many people. Dee Dee Navarre, Ab Castle, Irv Jones, and we are just like, this church is really friendly. We'll be back. So we continue to go to Diamond Canyon Christian Church, and they have life groups. Back then, they were called Bible studies, but we got plugged into Dee Dee Navarre's life group. I did, and Dave got plugged into Ab's Wednesday night men's group. And you could just tell that this was a church that cared about its people. And now I work for the church. I'm the admin assistant and have been for the last couple of years. And it's been a blessing. The church as a whole, all the people that I meet, all of you, and still more people to come daily when you come visit us. So if you're just found us through this new series that we're doing because the way the world is today, I hope you come to join us when we can get back together and meet all of us. Not just the staff, but our great members. And that's my story.